So welcome back to Wine and Wisdom, guys. I'm Naomi.
I'm Jim. You weren't expecting that much,
That one caught me off guard, but I'll take it. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about balancing life as a woman, because we know life is hard for us. We carry a lot on our backs.
Well, big back.
But we're also going to be talking about grieving the life we thought we would have had.
All right.
So let's get into it.
Before we do that,
Okay.
I've poured us wine.
Oh,
of course.
How lovely of you.
Cheers.
Clink, clink.
Spicy. Chili. Malbec. 2022.
Literally. It's definitely quite deep. Like I can.
Yeah.
It is quite deep.
Okay, let's see.
You tell me what you think you can taste and what you feel the flavors are. I'm gonna get a little game ready for you.
Okay. High acid.
Okay.
My mouth was instantly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's high tannin because my mouth doesn't feel dry, which is good. What I kind of like.
Yeah.
It's spicy, so I would say that it's got some form of spice in it. I don't know what spice though. Deep red. So like maybe plummy. Blackberry. Maybe cherry even, to be fair. I do like the way it makes my mouth water.
Yeah, it is quite exciting, to be fair. I feel like if you like something that's quite full-bodied,
it is full-bodied, yeah. Black cherry,
definitely
plum, black pepper, vanilla spice.
We actually need to play a game where we put down a pound for every flavor that we guess right. Because
I'm surprised. Look at that black cherry. Because you can taste it, you can smell it, you can So best paired with white meat, red meat, pork, or cheese.
Okay.
Yeah, and serve between 18 to 20. And to be honest, it feels like it's not 18 in here. It feels like it's 0. But yeah, so it's a Castelero Diablo Malbec Chili 2022. Yeah, I quite like it.
Yeah.
I just think it's unique. I'm not always a lover of spicy wines, and it's unusual for a spicy Malbec. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it's me.
It's more of a Shiraz.
More spicy. Yeah. But it's nice. And I feel like I could taste the black pepper, but I didn't know what spice it was.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Like that. Thank you, Jim, on the wine content. So I'm gonna ask you a question.
Oh God.
I mean, to be fair, it's not actually that bad. This one is actually quite light-hearted.
Guys, I got my Crocs on because my feet are cold. Sorry. You're going to have to see that.
Okay, so I'm going to pose a question. Let's just see what your thoughts are.
Okay.
What is the biggest thing that still hasn't gone back to normal after the pandemic?
That's a really hard question. What hasn't gone back to normal? I feel like life.
The economy. Yeah.
Like life.
House prices.
In general.
Yeah. Go.
That is a very good one. House prices is definitely not petrol. Petrol prices.
Girl.
Food. They're basically life. Everything.
Finances. Yeah. Like just everything. I feel like even workplaces are just, now they're just letting people off like there's no tomorrow.
Do you know what it is? It's because and they've like decreased salaries. I feel like the job market is much tougher now.
100%. And you're doing so much more for that one title. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, basically we're suffering. There's no other answer to it. We're suffering. But yeah. What about you? That's the same thing. Like,
yeah, just like the economy. I feel like
is dating worse since? Or better?
More people are definitely like pushed more onto that online dating thing, I feel.
Yeah.
But also, just off the back of that, I feel like more people have become like hermits. House bodies. Like less people go out. They've found a lot of comfort and solitude at home. Yeah. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, like honestly, do you know what I'm doing today after this? Like honestly, if you're going out tonight, good luck. Me, I got plans. I've got a stretch class at 5.
Not a stretch class.
Stretch and mobility at 5. I've got a spa with my book. I'm reading some book called High Notes right now.
I love that.
I'm allowing the heated beds and
a lot of self-care today.
Listen, I'm gonna watch Belle on Disney when I get home. Inside Out 2.
Belle? Yeah. Inside Out 2? Are these all cartoons?
Belle is like it's a true story based on I feel like a white man had a baby with a black woman and then brought her into his family, but she wasn't accepted because she was mixed race. But then she found love. So I haven't watched it. So
I've never watched that.
Yeah,
I might check that out.
Yeah, Belle, Disney. And it's actually based on a true story, so I'll be watching that tonight. I got my popcorn ready as well. Yeah, I'm having a very, very
chilled out
hermit day.
I love that.
With
I love
my hot
that
water
for you.
bottle because it's cold as hell.
But this is the thing, like I like the idea of just finding like peace in your home.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at that. But I do feel like because of the pandemic, a lot more people have become hermits.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, another thing actually I would say as well since the pandemic, and maybe it's not the pandemic that's caused this, but a lot less people are drinking. A lot more people are into like the health and
wellness.
Wellness, self-care, walking pad, this and that. Did the pandemic cause that?
I feel so.
Because
I feel like
I
feel like people had to become very innovative with how they were going to look after themselves and develop self-care. So there was a lot. I remember people sending out like healthcare packages, and there was a lot of online gymming and things like that. So
true.
People learned how to do a lot of the self-care stuff at home. They didn't have to go out to find it anymore.
And even for women as well, actually, I feel like a lot of women learn to do their nails, learn to do their lashes.
That's another thing.
Hair.
A lot of people develop skills because when where things were closed, a lot more people developed skills, even cooking. Like so many people were learning how to cook, and they couldn't go to the restaurants. Like I know a lady, Miss Joyce, who just started trends of cooking some of our favorite dishes, like how to make I think one of her viral ones was how to make a McDonald's McMuffin breakfast.
Oh, okay.
And
I think I saw that, you know.
And so a lot of people were at home trying it. I remember going working with people, and they were just saying, oh, like they've picked up this recipe from some of the things that she was posting on her page. So yeah, I feel like a lot more people were learning how to cook.
I feel like I actually tried to do a bit more cooking in the pandemic as well, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure. I know I definitely learned how to make some Chinese at home.
Auntie, was it
sweet
my
and
own?
sour chicken.
Okay.
Yep. And some beef stuff. Yep. And
but you just expanded your skills really because you could cook. So yeah, let's be honest, you can throw that.
No, but
you expanded.
No, but I just felt like it was. I don't know. I just want, like, if I wanted Chinese shops weren't open. I was like, I have to learn how to make it.
Do you know another thing as well that actually I think is really interesting that probably happened from the pandemic as well? People are more willing to do stuff by themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, like I mean, I was going to the cinema by myself before that anyway if I needed to watch something.
Never.
Do you know? I mean, yeah, but I feel like people now are more willing to do stuff by themselves because they're like, well, I've done it before now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, let's get into it.
Into how to balance life as a woman.
Yeah.
You don't. Life is balancing you. Life is balancing you.
I'm telling you, life doesn't have no balance.
How would you say you balance things?
I feel like some of the best ways for me is just writing things down.
Okay.
Planning.
Yeah.
I will have to factor things into my life.
Yeah.
So I would have to remember to.
Please, I need wine.
She's jealous of me because
I am.
Yeah. No. I would plan holidays for the year.
Yeah.
So I'll say, okay, I need to have a holiday. I know I need to make sure that I spread it out. So I would try not to have holidays just back to back in one area. Although I know this year was a bit of a special case, and last year actually, but that's all circumstantial. But generally speaking, I'll try to like map it out throughout the year because I know that I will have moments at work where I crash or like I'm just like burnt out.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm like, I need a break.
That was me before Mexico.
Yeah. So it's like important to map out. So I already know that that's something that will happen. So I just try to map out holidays throughout the year, or you know, making sure that I get time with my girls. So trying to spread things out. A lot of our birthdays are not close by anyway. So, but it is just making sure like, okay, you've got moments with your girls where you're just seeing them, catching up with them. Even if you end up cancelling it, like, you know, real recognize real. We know each other. So we know if I need to cancel, I can just be like, babe, can we just reschedule for another day? No one's going to get offended.
Yeah.
So life just be lifing sometimes. But it's nice to be able to have moments where you can just chill with your friends and you just say, okay, look, should we do a girls' weekend and just go for drinks or go for a meal or whatever?
Yeah.
Just a place to just catch up and just unwind.
Yeah. I love a girls' night, to be fair.
I live for it. It's so nice to look forward to that. And yeah, so I try to make sure I factor those things in, and then obviously Bay, like, we'll do date nights here and there. We'll factor those things in. Yeah, it's just, you just got to I feel like for me, I have to build those things into my life just so life doesn't take over.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. I feel like it's important to have those scheduled days.
Yeah.
And I see this a lot on Instagram as well, on TikTok, where it's like days to schedule in the month. If that makes sense. And it's like one self-care day, one day with the girls, a date night with your partner, etc. Or days reading a book in the park. One thing for me is sleeping. I don't care what anyone
do you know
says.
what? It's real talk, because
I don't care
there's times where I have to tell myself, get to bed by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm sleeping. And the thing is, like, I remember my manager, she's so funny, because basically I booked a day off to sleep and she thought I was joking. But I was dead ass. I was like, I just need a day to sleep. Like, I genuinely need sometimes to catch up on all the sleep that I'm lacking.
Yeah, for sure.
My sleep debt. Like, every day that I wake up in the morning at 6 something and the day goes on and on and on, sometimes I just need to sleep. And so I just book those days of sleep days. And now it's funny because now my manager does them.
That's you.
Yeah, because people forget, like, when you're doing so many things at the same time all at once,
you're sleep deprived.
You're sleep deprived, the body's tired, the mind is tired. You need to rejuvenate the body and the mind.
100%.
And sleep does that.
I totally agree. I feel like we're like batteries.
Yeah.
And if you just picture a battery, it will run out of energy. If you do not charge your phone, there is no phone tomorrow, because you've been using it. And it's the same thing we do with our bodies. We constantly are using up energy.
Yep.
So we do need moments where we can rejuvenate and recharge, and that comes with sleeping.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think another thing for me is prioritization. So, like, whilst I might plan and write things down that I need to do, I'm more of a doer, because I know that if I keep planning stuff and writing stuff down, ain't shit gonna get done. Yeah. So it's like I just do, but that also like makes me tired. So I need to prioritize, and I feel like, so even my partner always says that when I first met you, you was always on the go, you was always doing something, whereas now I feel like you kind of just slow down because there's so many things. So, like, if you didn't know, like, I used to do lashes, right? I don't do them anymore because I literally don't have the time, and I cannot be breaking my neck and my back because I'm trying to be, my posture's trying to be upright
come
for
on,
a long
give it
time.
to them.
Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously I still make candles, but I make them on designated days of the month, if that makes sense, as opposed to kind of just doing them on order. And even like with work, for example, I'm like, okay, is work the priority right now? Like, which customers or which clients are priorities? So the same way I do that with work is the same way I do that with my life. It's like, okay, cool, this weekend I need to see my partner, or this weekend I need me time to rejuvenate. Do you know what I mean? I need to do a full body shave. I need to do a full body oil. I need to grease my hair. I need to do everything. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, what do I need right now in the immediate? And another thing I do as well is like, what do I need to do today or tomorrow? As opposed to for the next week.
Fine. So you're just condensing it down and doing it in micro stages versus doing it like...
Yeah, because I feel like we always look in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, but you might not even make it there. You might die.
Yeah. Not die.
No. But you know what I mean? You might die. Yeah. So, like, what's happening tomorrow? What's in my immediate 24 to 48 hours that I kind of need to do to kind of keep my life balanced, as opposed to aspiring. Because don't get me wrong, it's important to aspire, but 1 month from now, I don't even know. I need to do the steps to get to the 1 month.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's another thing I would say is that helps me personally balance, but it might not be work for everyone.
No, I hear it because I feel like procrastination, it's a serious thing. But if you do things in the here and now, rather than saying, okay, I'll do that in tomorrow, I'll do that in a minute. That minute, next week, you'll be still saying the same thing. I'll do it in a minute. So it is quite good to just be able to focus and have tunnel vision and just say, okay, what do I need to do? These things. Okay, can I do that right now? What's stopping me from doing it right now?
I've got a question actually. Ooh. Do you actually have like lazy days? Like, do you just have a day where you just do nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's also necessary.
Oh, 100%.
I'm sure it will change when we have kids. Because I'm sure all the mothers out there watching us like, oh, really?
Is it?
But I do have lazy days.
Yeah, I do have days where I do nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
And I think it's important. I think it's important to be able to completely switch off. Like, when you switch off though, when you have your lazy days, what does your lazy day consist of?
It consists of, it depends. And it depends on how lazy I'm feeling. If my body feels like it's exhausted, I will literally be lying on my sofa watching something like some documentary, some serial killer, something psychological, something on a true story. I love it. For some reason, I'm obsessed with like true stories.
I do
psychology,
like a documentary,
thriller, something along those lines. So genuinely, if my body is not exhausted, because sometimes, my brain is exhausted, but my body is not.
Fair.
Does that make sense? So then I'll go to the gym, and then I'll come home and do stuff. If both is exhausted, like for example, my body's exhausted but my brain is not, then I might just be chilling.
Fair.
Yeah, or I might just go to my partner's house and just go and lie on him.
I swear, you're about to say lie on him, but then you're like lie on him.
Yeah, on him, literally. And I'm like, okay, cuddles. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, this is home, this is comfortable, this is safe. I don't even want to talk to you. You don't even have to talk to me. I just want to be comfortable and lie there, and he just be like,
fine, come on.
fine, but I'm watching Suits, by the way. Do you know what I mean? I'm watching something, I'm like, you do you. I'll be sleeping in 5 minutes anyway. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
So yeah, I feel like, but I also feel like with balance, is there ever really balance? Because I sometimes feel like we're consistently chasing our tails, and that comes with working and then coming home to do all the other things that you want to do. Because on a serious note, managing a social life, managing work, looking after your body, having a partner looking after your partner, making sure you're keeping up with your siblings and your mom and your dad, etc. Running a bloody car at this point, taking it to MOT, scheduling all that.
I'm tired of you.
Like, how does one do it?
That's the thing. I think life.
Life is balancing us.
Life is literally balancing us. Like you do see it so much on socials where a lot of people turn around and say things like, "Adulthood is the most ghetto hood."
It's ghetto.
Or like, we rush to get to being an adult, and a lot of people just wish they can go back in time and just enjoy the moments of being an adolescent or being a young
which is why child. I always say work in the day and do your stuff in the day, because I literally in 10 years or in 5 years I'm going to be much older, body might be less able, etc. So it's like that's what I'm like, what's happening in the next 24 to 48 hours?
100%.
What do I need to get done?
100%. It's like life be lifing, girl. And I think that's such a term. That's a term that I hear all the time.
Yeah.
From most, if not all of my friends. Life be lifing. And when you talk to people and you just say, how is life? How are things? The common theme is just like, people are just like very meh. Life becomes very
monotonous.
Monotonous. It just
routine.
It's just so routine for a lot of people now that they don't feel excited about life.
And it's so interesting because I was saying this to my partner the other day. Like we were talking about, I can't remember what we were talking about. But I was like, a lot of people are actually dead. You're already dead. You just walk in earth and doing your thing. Like in terms of like when it comes to prioritizing and balancing life as a woman and doing everything, I feel like it's also a mindset thing.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, when we're talking about like grieving the life we had, I feel like my life is better than the life I thought in my head. Do you see what I mean? So, but I don't know if I'm a bit delulu, because I could be. No, it's true though, seriously. Because sometimes I'm like, Jimmy, do you live in the real world? Because people are like, oh, do you think about that? Like my brother, for example, he said that to me. You, in your head, I just don't get it. I don't even know what goes on in your head, because he's like, something serious could be going on. And I'm like, okay. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, all right then. Yeah. But I genuinely put things out of my, like, for example, I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that stuff, because in my head, I'm like, me first, everything else later. Because sense. I'm like, honestly, and obviously me and my mum have been staying together for the last couple of weeks, right? And she watches the news every day. And then she'll be like, oh, this person died, so and so, oh, this happened in this country. And all I think in my head is, if you didn't watch this, you wouldn't even talk about this.
Yeah, you wouldn't be sad. You wouldn't be going through a sad emotion right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit selfish, but it is a bit selfish, I'll be honest. It's a selfish way to do it. But at the same time, I'm always like,
it's protecting your inner peace.
Yeah, me first, and then everything else later. And I feel like if I feel good in my body, and my mind, then I feel like I find the balance a bit more.
For sure, I hear that. I think it's just a hard one, because I feel like a lot of people, I think that term "life be lifing" is such a strong term.
Yeah, it is. Without even people realizing.
Without people realizing, because a lot of the time, like when you think about it, when you think about a whole year, a whole 365 days, you think, wow, I've got a whole year to make something happen. Yeah. And I think you put up a post the other day, which I liked, and it was talking about in the next 2 to 3 months, you can make, well, I mean, not verbatim, but in the next 2 to 3 months, you can make such a difference. You could lose weight. You could
get a new job.
Yeah. You can start a business. Yeah. You could, like, so much can happen in that time. And because we have this term of life be life in, we lose so much time.
Yeah.
We lose so much time because we have no concept of time. Every day rolls into one. Because a lot of people will be like, I can't even believe that we've got to October.
I can't lie, it's gone quick.
And people, it has gone quick.
Yeah.
But I feel like for a lot of people, the year just merges into one whole year. So they don't actually like set individual goals for the year or set things up in a way to make it feel a bit more exciting throughout the year.
Do you know what I think as well? Like, what you're saying is so true and so important, but I feel like regardless of that as well, what I think happens to people, and again, this is where probably we're a bit delulu, and I'm definitely delulu, but I feel like people aren't adaptable. And that's the problem. You get knocked back once, and then all of a sudden it's just me. But the problem is, it's just your turn.
Yes.
Because everybody is going through life. Yeah. We're all experiencing the same things, you know, everyone. At certain points. Yeah. We're all experiencing the same thing, just at different times. So it's like, oh yeah, it's always me. No, right now it's just your turn. But 3 months ago or last year, that was me.
Yeah.
And we were still, you went through this phase with me. Yeah. You just don't remember because it didn't impact you directly.
Yeah. Do
you see what I mean?
100%.
So it's like, at the same time, it's like, we need to understand that, okay, cool, be adaptable. You went for an interview, you didn't get that job, cool. There's literally 1,000 other jobs.
100%.
Do you get what I mean? People have been looking for jobs for 6 months, 1 year, they still haven't got it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, that's one thing. Okay, you lost weight, now you've put weight back on. Okay, cool, that's all of us. Every day
it's story.
Like my little cat fighting. Because it's a consistency thing. It's not a deadline. There's no deadline to these things.
To life until you die.
Literally.
Until you're dead.
Yeah, even at work, ask them. I'm like, what day is it today? Is it Monday? Wednesday? Because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because I know this is what I need to do and this is what I need to get done. So it's like, yes, you have these deadlines. Yes, you have these goals, but you need to be adaptable until you achieve those goals at the same time. And that will help you balance
100%.
Things a little bit more.
100%. 100%. And that's the thing. It goes back to that whole thing of, do people then start to grieve the life that they felt they should have had? If they feel like they, you know, if people are living a life of just like just being monotonous and it's just ticking on and they're just kind of like, what is it that they're waiting for to happen? Are they living a life of just...
Life's living you.
Yeah.
That's the thing, yeah.
Life is actually outliving you.
Yeah. I feel like it's okay to grieve the life you thought you should have had. That's fine. You can wallow for a little bit if you want to. But that's obviously the life you shouldn't have had because God didn't allow that for you.
Hey, speak on it.
That's just it. You know what I mean? That's like,
in
the nicest way possible and without sounding like I'm just so direct. But
no, 100%. I think people need to hear it. I think a lot of people try to... I think there's a saying that a lot of people use where they say, if you want to make God laugh, show him your plans.
Yeah. Because your plans might be this small in comparison to this big. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people grieve the life. There's a lot of things with this grieving the life that you should have had. More time. And this goes back to what we were talking about in the previous episode. People are settled.
Yeah.
They're comfortable. And you feel like you want to have a life. Okay, you have no accountability. You're in this position because you're comfortable. You're not willing to be uncomfortable to grow out of this position. So really, you're grieving the life in your head. You're grieving a plan.
Yeah.
Really, you never done anything towards that.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to being disciplined.
Yeah.
And being proactive.
Yeah.
Because essentially, if you were maybe proactive with some of the plans that you set for yourself many years ago,
you would be there. Yeah.
And I think the reality is, grieving a life that you wish you should have had probably comes down to the fact that you didn't act upon things that you should have at a time. Because I think grieving something that was not right for you. So, for example, if you're in an abusive relationship and you chose to leave that relationship,
and you're like, we should have had kids by now. Should have been in my 5-bed house.
Because that was all
getting banged up. For what?
You shouldn't even want that life. You should be like, thank God I didn't have that life.
But that's what I'm saying.
But if it was a life where you're just like, oh, I want to open a coffee shop, and that's been your dream for the last 10 years, and you've not done anything. You've not even put a single anything towards
no
it.
Research.
You don't even have to make coffee shop owners.
You don't even know the difference between like Robusta beans and Arabica beans, Robusta beans, whatever beans. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on.
Then at that point, you've just not put any action to the plan that you've set out. So you can't, like, grieving it is just like, well, actually, you know, you didn't do anything to try and get towards that plan.
Yeah.
So I think it's an interesting one.
Do you feel like you grieved the life you thought you would have had?
I'm gonna be completely frank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's aspects of my life that I'm just like, oh, I didn't really expect it to go that way.
Interesting. I'd love to deep dive.
Go for it.
Like what?
Career.
Ooh, okay. Now, I've got a question on this, because I feel like a lot of us can say this. Do you feel like you're grieving the career that you should have had? Or do you feel like we thought we would be in better places because we didn't understand the concept of time and what it took to be in those positions? Because I feel like sometimes, and this is a really good point that you make actually, but in terms of career, because I could probably say the same for myself actually. Yeah. But actually, I don't know if I'm grieving the career I thought I should have had. I think I'm like, actually, I now realize it takes 10 years to be in this position, not 5. It takes 20 years to get to CEO level, not 2.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So are we grieving what we thought we should have had, or now we're just realizing how much work and actual effort and how much actually needs to go in? It takes to actually get there.
Yes and no, because I feel like when I graduated, and this kind of goes back to why I started the Venus Code, but when I graduated, I had an idea of where I thought my career path would go.
Yeah.
And the thing with careers, you can always start it at any age. Yeah. There's no real time limit to it.
Yeah.
But I definitely thought I would go down a specific career path. And I feel like I've stayed being in the current career path that I'm in because it's been
easier.
I've probably been a little bit lazy with it. Okay. And just felt like, okay, a few knockbacks from applications. Let me just stay where I know.
Yeah.
And then I've developed myself in an area that I just know. But I am also a big believer in you don't just end up in anywhere by accident. Like, I do believe that God has a plan for your life. And if I was meant to go down a certain route, and it's not to say that God will never take me down that route, maybe he will, but where I am now, it's opened my mind up to so many new career prospects
and possibilities
and certain positions that I've been put into, and been promoted in, not to say that I would never have got it if I was in a different career path, but maybe I would have struggled more if I went down that road.
Yeah.
So I am I do have an optimistic mindset with certain things, but I just didn't, when I was graduating, I didn't think this is where I would be career-wise. I thought I would be in something else. So I have to, a part of me is trying to let go of what I thought I would have been in.
Yeah.
And is trying to accept the path and trying to see what possibilities it could lead me down. Yeah.
Understandable. I think that's different to the time thing I was kind of talking about, because I feel like the time thing is an interesting one, but obviously at any point anyone can change career if they wanted to. So that does make sense, to be fair, and I completely agree, because in my head I'm like, I should have 2 kids by now. I should have been married at 25. Do you know what I mean? I could have had 2 kids. I should be living in my 5-bed house in a suburb somewhere. Do you know what I mean? With a massive garden, a little dog called Bagel. Do you know what I mean?
Not Bagel.
Literally. So it's like, whilst in my head I'm like, that's the life I thought I would have had, I feel like my life is better.
Well,
at the same time. Do you see what I mean? Because I'm like, I could have probably had 2 kids by now, but I'd have been in a way worse relationship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, sometimes we're grieving something that was actually dead long before. It was never meant for us.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think sometimes as well, it's just being able to...
And I definitely would have been in that 5-bed.
I think it's also that kind of... I think it's also taking that snapshot of life and really just understanding, okay, my vision might have been to be, married by the time I was 25 with 3, 4, 5 kids or whatever.
5.
It was always my dream to have like 6 kids.
For what?
We haven't even started with the one. So, but it's just understanding and accepting what God's plan is for your life and the route that your life is taking you down. And I think I think it's more the acceptance than the grieving.
Yeah.
Because I think once you accept where your life is going, I feel like it allows you to have more control over it and try to make the most out of the life you've got.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times we try to steer our life in a direction that it's never meant to have been. And like you said, you know, for a lot of us, we could have probably had kids a lot younger.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But then we would have been in maybe worse off relationships.
Absolutely.
And not been happy. And, you know, the idea of, okay, being married at 25 and having like so many kids and whatever, that may not have been the healthiest and the best route for my life.
Yeah.
I may have been struggling.
Yep.
I may not have even had a career. I may be working somewhere where I'm getting chicken. I'm crying.
Because no.
But it's like, you know, but yeah, in every essence, I always try to just take life with both hands and just make the most out of what's being given to you. Turning lemons into lemonade.
You made a good point there, so I'm gonna literally piggyback off that. In terms of piggy. In terms of, I feel like balancing your life as a woman, letting go of societal expectations, that will help you as well.
Amen.
That will help
Hallelujah.
You. Because we should both be married by now. We should both have kids by now. You know what I mean? But here we are, fabulous. So I think again, societal expectations of what you think, and literally just choose your path. And what is meant to be for you, because I didn't 100%. And understanding that sometimes as well, like I feel like with relationships especially, we grieve so much because we're like, oh, this should have worked. We've been together 5 to 12 to 10 to whatever years it is.
Yeah.
You can't control another person.
You can't control another person.
Yeah.
And that's also what's very important, because you might meet somebody really, really young and think, yep, he's going to be with me for the rest of my life, yada, yada, yada. And then he just ends up leaving you. Like, you can't control another person's actions, and just because it was something that you wanted to do within your life,
and even as not even younger, even at our age, I think as well, like, don't get me wrong, obviously we get married to be like, we want to do this for life and be in love, etc., right? But people get divorced, things break down, you know what I mean, people get their heart broken, so it's like you have to always be, I feel like, live and love to the fullest,
for sure,
but always with the understanding that not everything's forever.
Exactly that.
Do you see what I mean? So it's like, and if it does come to an end, it's like, okay, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time and your services. Do you know what I mean? God has a different path for me. I need to kind of sway towards that. But the thing is, I feel like it's one thing as humans, and especially as women, I feel like we do is beat ourselves down bad.
Too much. Yeah.
All the time. And we stay there for so long. And I feel like if you're an overthinker as well, that takes it to another level.
Yeah.
So I feel like with me, I'm a little bit blonde. I'm not an overthinker at all. So it's like, this happens, I'm like, yeah, okay. Do you know what I mean? Where some people will literally deep dive, keep going. And now you've thought yourself into a place where this might never even happen.
100%.
Do you see what I mean? So it's like, and I don't really know how to deal with that, because I'm not an overthinker.
Yeah.
But are you an overthinker?
At times.
How would you recommend like other women? Because I have loads of friends, for example, that are overthinkers, and like siblings, cousins that are overthinkers. Is there a recommendation that you would say? Because again, I cannot comment on this in this area. But how do you kind of stop yourself again from maybe potentially overthinking yourself into a situation and stressing yourself in a situation that may never actually happen?
I think it does take a lot to change your mindset, especially if you've been an overthinker for many years. But you just have to let go. Essentially, you just have to let go. A lot of times you just have to close your eyes and just free it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, with me, for example, I'm not a big poster on social media, and I have a lot of content, but I just don't post it because I'm just like, I can't be bothered for the naysayers.
Yeah.
And for me, the way I control my peace is just by controlling how much I allow people to see and scrutinize and judge, because I don't really care for your opinion. So for me, I will just protect a lot of that information. But sometimes, especially in this world of podcasting, I do have to just let go. I do have to post. I do have to try not to overthink.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'll just be like, just post. Like I'll just have to click post or add to story and just leave it as that, and not really overthink what other people may think.
Yeah. Can I just question this here as well? Because obviously, same, I understand this, but do we really care? Because I don't even
not that I really care.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I just think, because for example, like people are gonna always have opinions. So even if you don't post, someone's gonna be like, oh yeah, that podcast, I never posted anything. I don't even know. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, I feel like regardless of whatever it is, we're gonna consistently be criticized. Not even us, but in general anyway.
But this is the thing, and I think it's that element of just knowing everyone's always gonna have an opinion.
Everyone's
always gonna have an opinion. And I think it also comes down to being quite self-accepting as well. Like, I know that for myself, for example, there are certain things that I'm just like, I know people will say probably have something to say about this particular thing about me, but it is what it is. I love myself for who I am. God, I can't get that word out. I love myself for who I am and how I am. But I have to be honest, it took a lot of work over the years. It's not something that just
happened overnight.
I
Yeah.
just had to learn to just accept myself. And I think when you realize that life is so short,
Too short.
you know, like someone's opinion, you can't allow that to dictate and control your life.
Yeah.
People are gonna love you, people are gonna hate you. It's fine.
And I'm
It's
actually
just,
alright with you not
let it
liking
go.
me.
I'm not gonna start convincing you to love me. If you don't like me, then just go about your business and bye-bye. Like, it's
Toodaloo, love.
don't drop on the stone.
Literally, I might trip you up, but
but it's just, it is what it is. Like, I just learned to just love me for who I am. And like I said in a previous episode, I have great friends around me. I have a great circle around me. I have a great community around me, and they love me, and that's enough.
And that is enough.
Do you know what I mean?
It is, because not everyone's gonna like you. And you know, so funny. You can be so nice to somebody, and they still don't
not like
you.
And that's also another thing. It's like, no matter how much you do for somebody, no matter how much you can put yourself out there and try for somebody, they can still find a reason to hate you.
100%.
So what's the point of just living a life of, oh, what if people don't like me, or what if people say,
if they don't like
you,
you, so what?
Everyone has an opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I don't have to agree with their opinion. They don't have to agree with my opinion.
Yeah, I wonder if the people pleasing thing and like, you know, consistently caring about someone's opinion comes from our childhood. I feel like I lost this care for what people thought towards like after high school, so after secondary, but in between finding myself into like, I would say sixth form to third year of uni, basically.
Yeah.
I just thought, you know what? I actually
don't care.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
I just like, you don't like me. You don't even have a reason. You don't even know me. Like, and you know what? I'm actually alright with you not liking me. I'm okay with it.
It's fine.
And I feel like because I went from south to west, and I could see the complete differences. I'm in an environment where I'm very different to everyone else around me. So all of you have a reason not to like me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you have a reason not to like me potentially, because it's like, don't really know her, not really familiar, unusual. She just joined our school. And I just didn't care. But you know what I realized? People were more drawn to, she doesn't even care if you like her or not.
Yeah.
Than anything else. And I've just like, even at work the other day, we were talking about it, because we're talking about like, you know, if you were like, some of the colleagues were saying, oh yeah, you know, being bullied at school, for example, or not feeling family love, for example, or, you know, somebody say I had big ears or whatever, I was too tall, I was too chubby, I was this whatever, and people didn't like them, so they constantly felt the need to kind of people please. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I get that, but for me, people pleasing has never done me any good.
Yeah,
it's always backfires.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think the reality is a lot of people do eventually find out that it is very pointless. And I do feel like more people, as they get into their like 30s and above,
you find yourself,
and you have less of a care to please people, because you start to realize time's of the essence, time is ticking. The people that I cared about before, that I was trying to people please before, have
They're not
gone.
even in your life.
They're not in your life anymore.
Yeah.
It's like you just get a new whole perception of life.
Yeah.
But trying to explain this to somebody who's in secondary school or in nursery, they're always taught about, you know, building friendships and making friends and being popular and things like that. So there is that element of people pleasing is somewhat instilled in them. And it will take a lot of work back home to try to build up kids who are very independent and who do not care.
I was about to ask you, because this is a really interesting one point as well that you make here again.
Yeah.
How do we raise our kids? Because I feel like to not be that way.
I would love to raise my kids to just not care. But the reality is, the way society is, I don't know if that is possible, because I think there's always a primary and a secondary in terms of like social behavior and how you raise kids, because the primary would be home, instilling morals, instilling values, and then secondary would be going to schools.
The
external factors that you can't fully control. So you can't control what they're being taught in schools, and a lot of the times they spend a lot of time in school, probably more interaction at school than they do at home. And so trying to instill morals and values in children I feel like can be quite hard,
of course,
because
100%.
they can lose a lot of that when they start to go to school, because school teaches them probably undoes a lot of the teachings that you try to do at home. And so you're trying to expect the child to understand the balance of both. And trying to find themselves and understand who they are as an individual and not dulling their shine. Like you see kids that, maybe like a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old versus somebody who's about to go into going into secondary school, and how different they start to become, and the slight changes. And I want to be naughty in class because I want, it makes people laughing.
Clown,
yeah, it makes people laugh. But a lot of the people that I
know, I'll smack you. That's how we get in A star.
Because it's seen as not being cool to be smart in school.
Yeah. But actually, like the coolest thing.
It's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
But for a child, they're not understanding that, and then you're 100%. Not walking in the shoes that they're walking in. So for them, it's like being a smart kid is known as your geek.
But, do you know what it is though? Do you know what it is?
Go on.
Is that always the case? Because I feel like sometimes the smart kids got Riz, and when the smart kids got Riz, it's like you're smart and you're cool.
I feel like that maybe changes in, like, that becomes a thing when you get to uni. I don't know that becomes a thing when you're in secondary school. I feel like in secondary school, you're still known as geek. You're still known
I'd rather be a geek, please. I want to be a geek, please. If you can go, I want to be a geek.
But I feel like from a realistic perspective, geeks were just never seen as cool kids. Yeah. I think you'd almost have to dump down your geekness and just be like, okay, I come in, I'm cool, I know the latest songs or wearing the latest clothes, but then I'm in top set. But then you're not really talking amongst your group and saying I'm in top set. Like I remember when I was in school, like people in bottom set were obviously not the smartest, but I mean, they were the more popular ones in the school. They just were in top set because you were using your brain, you were reading your book. Exactly.
That's why.
And then obviously they're trying to attract attention in other ways by being disruptive and all the rest of it. But everybody wanted to be cool with the cool kids.
Yeah, like, it's going to be so interesting when we all like navigate through parenthood. I can't wait to see like all of us navigate through parenthood, because I'm so curious, even for myself, to see what I would be like as a mother.
Same.
So obviously my partner has children, so it's so interesting to kind of learn and see what happens and like the different parenting styles between people, and how you raise children. And also because like it's funny because I feel like when you're a parent, you automatically just have more patience.
You do,
in comparison to someone who does not have children. To a certain extent.
You say that, but then I do feel like there's some parents that I think they may like
have.
Yeah, but then I feel like sometimes you're still a person at the end of the day. Like if you need to go to bed because you've got work in the morning and you need to get up at 6 a.m. and your child wants to be jumping up and down and they've got all this energy and you're tired, you're not probably going to have patience. You're going to be like, hello, be getting to your bed right now, otherwise I'm going to
sleep.
Tap your bum, like so, and I think that's natural, and I think that's probably what makes it harder as you get older and you start having kids. You probably have less patience than you would as a 20-year-old. As a 20-year-old, you probably have way more energy than a 30-year-old. And then if you're progressing in your career and you're now more senior, you're probably like the work and life balance becomes even more intense.
True. It's gonna be so interesting.
Oh, it's gonna be so interesting.
It's gonna be so interesting to navigate all of this.
Yes,
like,
girl.
I'm excited.
But yeah, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Guys, how do you balance life as a woman? What do you think are the tools, techniques, tactics that can help you balance? I feel like there's obviously like day-to-day things that we didn't like talk on in terms of like, for example, setting up for your week in terms of like meal prepping, getting your outfits ready for work, etc., etc. So there are other things that would like help you be more prepared. Obviously, as Naomi said, in terms of like planning, make sure you got your plans, your goals, etc. written down so that you know what you're actually aiming towards in terms of, again, working in the days. Because I feel like when you work in the days, you have to achieve certain things in the days as opposed to, I've still got 1 month to do it. No.
Yeah.
You might not even make it to that 1 month. No offense. But, do you know what I mean? So it's like, there are actually so many things. I feel like as well, letting go of societal pressures, doing what's right for you, not feeling the need to people please, that'll help you balance as well. Letting go of situations that no longer serve you, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's a job, not grieving the life that you thought you should have had, and accepting that God has a plan for you. Whatever's going to change is going to change it regardless.
For sure.
So being adaptable to life. I think there's so many things. Obviously, we've messed up quite a few things. So if you've got anything that you want to say, let us know. Other than that, speak soon.
Bye.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Don't forget.
TikTok, Insta, YouTube. Bye, guys.
Bye.